Ugh, the pillows. Why? All right, that bit was a little extreme, but it's for a purpose. I've never understood the point of decorative pillows. For me, decorative pillows have always been kind of like decorative food. If the food is there, I want to eat it. So why is it plastic? If the pillows are there, I want to lay on them. So why can't I touch them? Yeah, people, and typically in my experience, women, they really love to have decorative pillows on the bed and on the couch and on pretty much all comfortable flat surfaces. And so the psychology part of my brain said, okay, well, why is that? Well, let me tell you. Okay, firstly, let's talk a little bit about sight. When you're seeing something, you're actually seeing something from about 50 milliseconds ago, which doesn't sound like much, but it shows that there's a slight lag. Because what's happening is when you see something, then light is being reflected off of that object and then back to your eye, and then it hits your retina, then it travels through a nerve all the way to the back of your brain. It's an interesting pathway. But when it gets to the back of your brain, it goes to all kinds of different areas. About a third of our brain is used to process sight, which is wild. And now that doesn't mean it's that third is solely for processing visual information. It just means that a third is used when processing visual information. When that visual you see hits your eye and travels to the back of your mind, it's then carried in a form of an electrical impulse, kind of like a wire carrying a current. And when it comes to the back, it goes to, among other areas, it goes to the V1 and V2. We'll just call them that for short. V1 and V2, they help us process and organize lines and edges. Interesting, right? So when your brain sees things, it picks up objects in lines and edges and orientations. And it's constantly looking for patterns. And so once your brain has all the lines and edges and orientations and patterns all put together, then it starts to add into color. And so that's a very brief explanation of processing visual information. And now what does that have to do with decorative pillows? Well, studies have shown that rooms that have too many straight and sharp edges and lines can actually induce anxiety, which is interesting. But I think it's because your brain associates those sharp edges with potential weapons and dangerous things. And so even though it may be too many picture frames or too many 90-degree angled chairs, then still the brain sees sharp points that could potentially hurt you, which is fascinating. And so by contrast, having rounded edges and soft lines, that helps your brain feel a little bit more safe and secure. And so now pillows, though they are typically a square, they have softer edges. They're rounded and they feel a little bit safer. I personally think that there's something healthy and good in stopping to actually take in a scene. So whether it's just going from a flat bed to a bed with pillows and different dimension and texture, then I think that's healthy for the brain to just take a stop every minute, call it like a micro break, where your brain just says, hey, look. And now that gets us to our next point, which is how adding decorative pillows and just overall decorations is like art and self-expression. There have been plenty of studies that show that art actually enhances your brainwave patterns, your emotions, and even your nervous system. So art can actually make you be healthier, which is wild. Plus, art has also been known to release serotonin and dopamine. Serotonin is commonly known as the happiness molecule. Bit of an oversimplification, but just like dopamine is the pleasure molecule, which is also an oversimplification. However, they are both expressed when you're looking at art. And now I think that this art goes along with decorative pillows for at least one reason, because you're taking a basically a blank canvas of a flat bed, and you're adding different dimension and texture and colors to it. And so whether it's 3 pillows or 6 pillows or 11 pillows, then it adds a certain amount of dimension and self-expressions, making a flat, boring object something that's more personal to you. I like to think of the complexity as part of what gives it the beauty that some people see. And I think of that kind of like a flower. A flower has a lot of different petals and colors, and all those together make it a very complex and interesting object, which is similar to art. And so I think that in a way, when people add pillows to the bed, is kind of like adding petals to a flower, making it more beautiful and expressive. And so now finally, to wrap it all up and kind of put it all together, what your brain does for you is it's always trying to find purpose and meaning in life and in situations and in an environment. And it's trying to get a quick feel for the room. And so when you have art or a self-expressive type of decorative pillows even, then what that does is it adds meaning and an element of safety and personalization to a room. And that is in turn helpful, not just for your brain, but also for your immune system, your whole nervous system, everything. Even though a lot of this research is still being processed and it could change later, for now, that's the most current research that I know of. And I hope it helps you understand why some people actually really like the decorative pillows.